Today, only the wind moves through 1,800-year-old limestone columns that once echoed with merchants from across the ancient world. The silence is staggering, because this place once swallowed more wealth in a single afternoon than most ancient cities saw in a lifetime. Camel caravans loaded with Chinese silk, Indian pepper, and Arabian frankincense once stretched for miles toward these gates, paying tolls that funded temples taller than anything in Rome's Forum. At its peak, this city, with no river, no coastline, and no farmland worth mentioning, controlled a trade network generating wealth that would equal billions today. Then, in 2015, men with sledgehammers and explosives arrived and tried to erase 2,000 years of history in 72 hours. How does a city built on empty sand become one of the richest places on Earth? And why did the world only notice after watching it get destroyed? This is the story of Palmyra. Let's be clear about one thing first. Palmyra never controlled the entire Silk Road. No single city did. But for centuries, nearly every caravan moving between Rome and the East either passed through its oasis or depended on the trade network it built, and that made all the difference. The year is 41 AD. You are standing in the middle of the Syrian desert with nothing around you for 130 kilometers, except one thing: water. A spring called Efka pushes up through the limestone, and around it, locals have built a settlement they call Tadmor. You can smell dust, dung, and roasting meat as a caravan rolls in, 200 camels strong, carrying silk that has already traveled over 8,000 kilometers to reach this exact spot. Here's what almost nobody knows. Palmyra didn't get rich from farming, fighting, or mining gold. It got rich from sitting in the one empty patch of desert between two superpowers, Rome to the west, Parthia to the east, and charging both sides a toll to cross safely. Merchants who bypassed the city risked raiders and death by dehydration. Merchants who paid Palmyra's fee got armed escorts, guaranteed water, and courts to settle disputes. By the 2nd century AD, by some estimates, more than 100,000 people live here. A colonnaded street stretches 1.1 kilometers, lined with 750 columns. A temple to the god Bel rivals anything in Rome. Funerary towers rise 9 stories, built purely to flaunt family wealth. Citizens haggle in Aramaic, sign contracts in Greek, and worship gods that are part Roman, part Persian, part entirely their own. Luxury silks from China, pearls from the Persian Gulf, spices from India, glass from Syria, and Roman silver all change hands within a few hundred meters of each other, in markets thick with the smell of incense and animal sweat. Palmyra becomes one of the richest multicultural cities on Earth, almost by accident. And Rome increasingly views the city's growing wealth and independence with suspicion. Rome was about to learn that whoever taxes an empire's trade can also threaten its throne. The year is 267 AD. The king of Palmyra has just been assassinated, and standing over his body is his widow, a 28-year-old woman named Zenobia, who claims descent from Cleopatra and is about to do something almost no one in the ancient world dares. She declares herself empress. She raises an army. She marches it straight into Roman territory. You can hear iron clashing and cavalry screaming as her forces seize Egypt in 269 AD, then push north through Asia Minor, carving out a breakaway empire stretching over 2,500 kilometers from the Nile to the edge of modern-day Turkey. For 3 astonishing years, Zenobia rules a state that rivals Rome itself, minting her own coins and refusing every demand to surrender. Here's the part that shocks people. Rome's own emperor, Aurelian, doesn't treat her like a minor rebellion. He treats her like the greatest threat to the empire since Hannibal. In 272 AD, he marches an army across the desert, crushes her forces at Emesa, and lays siege to Palmyra itself. Her city's water, its lifeline for over 3 centuries, gets cut off. Zenobia tries to flee toward Persia on a camel. She's captured at the Euphrates, kilometers from freedom. Some accounts say she's paraded through Rome in golden chains. Others claim Aurelian, oddly impressed, lets her live out her life in an Italian villa. Either way, the desert queen who humiliated Rome for 3 years simply vanishes from the historical record. Palmyra survived Zenobia's defiance. It would not survive what came nearly 2,000 years later. After one last revolt in 273 AD, Aurelian's patience runs out. He sacks the city, and it never fully recovers. Trade routes shift, the Silk Road moves on, and the desert slowly reclaims what humans built. By the 20th century, Palmyra is a quiet UNESCO World Heritage Site, walked by tourists among the same 750 columns merchants once haggled beneath. Then, in May 2015, fighters from ISIS seized the city, and what follows isn't war, it's deliberate erasure. They dynamite the Temple of Balshamin. They level the Temple of Bel, a structure that survived nearly 2,000 years of empires, invasions, and earthquakes. In August 2015, they murder Khaled al-Assad, an 82-year-old archaeologist who had spent over 50 years protecting Palmyra's treasures after he refuses to reveal where the museum's most precious artifacts are hidden. He dies. The artifacts he protected survive. Syrian forces retake the city, lose it again, and retake it a second time in 2017. Today, conservators are still piecing broken columns back together, stone by stone, determined to prove that a hammer can shatter history, but it cannot delete it. Palmyra's real story was never just about silk, gold, or Zenobia's rebellion. It's about what happens when human ambition collides with human destruction, and which one ultimately wins. For nearly 2,000 years, this desert city proved that trade and tolerance could turn empty sand into one of the richest places on Earth. For a few brutal months in 2015, it proved how fast that can be torn apart. And yet, most of the columns are still standing. People are still rebuilding. Maybe that's the real lesson buried in the ruins. Civilizations end, but the will to remember them doesn't. If this story moved you the way it moved me, let me know in the comments and subscribe, because history this powerful deserves to be told right.